Good afternoon from the Namoli Family Stadium. This afternoon, the Tampa Spartans and the Nova Southeastern Sharks going head-to-head once again in NCAA Super Regional play. I'm Bruce Wozniak here to call the action for you in this Game 2 of the best-of-3 series. And we saw here last night the visiting Sharks coming in and taking Game 1 by a score of 4-0. And a beautiful Friday afternoon here on the campus of the University of Tampa. 88 degrees is our game time temperature. And the Spartans are the road team for this game. And so you see the starting pitcher warming up for Nova Southeastern. That is the right-handed pitcher, Julia Allen, a junior from Fayetteville, Georgia. And Allen, a 2.41 earned run average, 11-4 one-loss record. And a little bit surprised to not see Alyssa Drogemuller again, who pitched last night's game and did so in fine fashion. Well, you know what? That is Drogemuller, so we got some bad information because we had Allen. So perhaps she is who is scheduled to pitch Game 3 if necessary. So my apologies for getting the broadcast off on the wrong foot, but it is Drogemuller again. And what a gem she pitched last night in the 4-0 victory. This is Lauren Fantone, the Spartans left fielder, leading off as always. And the 2-0 right down the middle for strike one. Drogemuller looking the other way from last night with the dugout flipped in a roundabout way. Strike two. Spartans come in with an overall one-loss record of 43-4 as Fantone gets underneath that one, and that'll be caught for out number one by the second base player, Emily Thomas. And Nova Southeastern with the victory here last night. That improved their record to 42-13, and they are on a 14-game winning streak. Lily Keister, the batter for the Spartans now. Keister, the Spartans center fielder, the 0-1 to her. And the count goes even at 1-1. And a good crowd here on this Friday afternoon, watching the Spartans and the Sharks. As Keister gets a piece of that one, but ranging in from left field to make the catch is Riley Langwell for out number two. That'll bring up Mariah Galehouse, Spartans pitcher from last night's game, and she will be playing right field in this game. Ball one to Galehouse. So it'll be interesting to see with the Sharks going with Drogemuller here in game one of this day, game two of the series. If the Spartans are victorious, will Galehouse get the start in the later game today? They'd love to be in a position to have to make that decision. It would mean that their season is still alive. The winner of this series will go to Chattanooga next weekend. And now the 1-1. Galehouse is going to be out, put out by Thomas. So the Spartans go 3 up and 3 down here in the top of the first. No runs, no hits, no Sharks errors, and nobody left on base. ready to start the bottom of the first inning. And for UT, getting the start this afternoon in the circle is Gwen McGinnis. And her first pitch is ball one. The batter is Alexis Smith. And that one's up high for ball two. Alexis Smith, the Sharks center fielder from right here in Tampa. McGinnis winds, delivers, and just catches the corner of the strike zone, 2-1. Showing bunt, and that goes foul, and so the count will go even at 2-2. The 2-2 now to Smith. Swings and misses, and she goes down as the first strikeout of the game for Gwen McGinnis. And that'll bring up the pitcher, Alyssa Drogemuller. And strike one to Drogemuller. Fouled back to the screen, 0-2. And that's up high for ball one. And I'm joined now in the booth by Skippy Lieberstein.
How you doing, Bruce?
See McGinnis whining, delivering the 1-2, and that goes foul down the third base line. And so Drogemuller, who you had forecasted last night that we would see again today, indeed got 3 up and 3 down in the top of the first, and here she is with the bat, hoping to help her own cause. And right to Steph Ballmer for out number 2.
As she did last night, really taking a great job of the game, taking control and taking the left-handed hitters out of the gameplay for Tampa. So that's where Tampa had to do their homework, really scout and make the adjustment. Hopefully they do today. That first pitch is going to be a strike on the outside corner. They got an 0-1 count.
The left fielder Riley Langwell, and sees that one go up high for a ball. A 1-1, swing and a miss, and fooled Langwell with that one.
Had her really guessing right there. She was looking for something hard and straight, and that one was pretty off speed and had a lot of action there.
The 1-2 swung on and missed, and down goes Langwell. So for the Sharks in the bottom of the first, no runs, no hits. There were no Spartan errors and no Sharks runners left on base. We are through one complete and scoreless with plenty more on the way. Back live here at the Namoli Family Stadium. The Spartans, the away team in this game, as they come to bat in the top of the second. And both teams going 3 up and 3 down in the first. So the 4, 5, and 6 hitters for UT this inning: Cameron Weininger, Avery Perkins, and Lexi Chevalier. And Drogemuller with the first pitch.
You know, she really put a clinic on yesterday. I expect the same energy and attitude out of her again today.
And Weininger gets a hold of that one, but ranging all the way over from center field to make the catch is Alexis Smith for out number 1. Weininger, we know, has power. Showed it there.
She hit that one well. The center fielder was really able to track that one down. She went a long way for that one.
Avery Perkins, the designated player.
This is where Tampa has to make the adjustment. They have to find a way to get the left-handed batters into the game. But it looks like Nova's going right back to the same gameplay, and why not? I mean, it's clearly working.
The 0-1 to Perkins. And outside for ball 1. There's little to no wind this afternoon, as you see Perkins get underneath that one, and that'll be caught for out number 2 by Alexis Smith, her second put out of the inning. And that'll bring up Lexi Chevalier, the Spartans' third base player. So Chevalier hoping to keep the inning alive here for the Spartans. And the first pitch she sees from Drogemuller is low and away for ball 1.
Tampa has to replicate what Nova did yesterday, is get on base every single inning. And I believe Nova only did it one time where they did not get on base. Very impressive.
And Chevalier drives that one foul down the third base line.
Yeah, I think she was anticipating that pitch. She was really geared up on that one. Maybe they go right back to the same location.
1-1. Nice take by Lexi. 2-1. Drogemuller checks the dugout, checks the wristband, delivers, and Chevalier, that will find the gap. And Lexi Chevalier has the first base hit of the game past the diving shortstop, Tia Williams.
Really a good piece of hitting right there, just keeping your head down, follow the ball, able to sneak it past a really deep shortstop. And it keeps the inning alive.
And that brings up Caroline Watson, the Spartans catcher. Number 7 hitter in head coach Leslie Cantor's lineup.
Something I would keep an eye on here if you're watching for Tampa is they're going to be very aggressive this game. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at them. This is a must-win, so you're going to see really aggressive attitude.
Extends to the base paths too.
Oh, absolutely. Maybe even pull off a trick bunt when they're not expecting it. Maybe with 2 outs, you see the third baseman really deep right there.
And up high for ball 3.
This is the attitude where you're going to see that they're playing for something, and now the chess match is really taking effect. You're going to do the exact opposite.
The 3-0. And ball 4, Caroline Watson Base on balls, 4 straight pitches. And so UT with runners at first and second. And it brings up first base player Kate DeSimone. And a nice opportunity, an early opportunity that the Spartans must convert, which will give them not only the lead, but equally important, Skippy, the confidence in knowing that they can get to Drogemuller after having been blanked last night.
Yeah, I mean, she put an absolute clinic on. Nothing to take away from her, but I don't think Tampa was ready for what they saw. And if anything, you got 2 runners on, and you're now applying some pressure to Nova. Now you're going to see what they're made of here.
And we see the conference out in the circle. And last night, I believe that the Sharks head coach Julie Lemaire had an early conference as well when the Spartans showed just the slightest hint of a potential threat. So she's making sure that they cut it off at the pass early.
Oh, absolutely. And even though it was a 4-0 game, correct, Bruce? I mean, it almost felt like it was 12 runs.
And I think, Skippy, similarly, if the Spartans can convert one of these base runners, that's going to make them feel like last night was a week ago, and they don't have to have it on the radar anymore. They should just be focused on this game, but I think it will give them tremendous confidence. And, you know, you talk about how hitting is contagious, and I think if they get that first run across, that might be kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back in terms of, okay, let's refocus on being the Tampa Spartans softball team that we've been all year long.
Well, you mentioned they've only lost 2 games here at home this season, which is very, impressive. And that's where the veterans last night in the clubhouse, they got everyone together and they said, this is our field. We're the number 1 seed.
And DeSimone, it's bounced past Williams and around to home. And Lexi Chevalier scores. And so the Spartans take the 1-0 lead in the top of the second. And Kate DeSimone at first and Watson at second.
That almost felt like a grand slam right there. I mean, they were waiting to erupt after yesterday. You know, the veterans in the clubhouse had a lot to say, as they should.
And, you know, last night everything bounced Nova Southeastern's way, and there you saw one as Williams tried to field that one. But the Spartans finally got a bounce of their own, and it results in Chevalier being able to come around from second.
Well, you also have 2 different mindsets. You know, Nova wants to come out here and shut it down and just get over with it and head to the national championship. So they're going to play a little more relaxed, even though they don't feel like it. You just are. That's human nature. They have 1 game to spare. And Tampa, I mean, every play counts. You're going to see 100% effort.
The 1-1 coming to Steph Ballmer. Ball 2. So DeSimone down at first, Caroline Watson at second. And the Spartans, again, the road team for this game with a 1-0 lead. As Drogemuller checks the dugout. Delivers, and Ballmer, that one will be caught by Williams for out number 3. But now, not before the Spartans get 1 run on 1 hit. There was 1 Sharks error and 2 Spartans runners left on base. Through 1.5, the Spartans in the lead 1-0. Back with more NCAA softball on TampaSpartans.tv. Back live at the Namoli Family Stadium, and a beautiful Friday afternoon for softball. The Spartans hoping it'll turn into a beautiful evening for softball and force a 3rd game in this best of 3. And they have the early lead 1-0. Skippy, surprised at all to see that it's Gwen McGinnis that gets the start? In other words, Leslie Cantor going to a freshman as her starting pitcher for a game this pivotal?
Well, I don't think you were going to see Gail House after yesterday. They had her number. They had the scouting report. So you want a little different angle, a little different view coming out of the hand, if you will. And I would see Gail House coming in later as maybe a closer. But like I said, this game you're going to see a lot of trickery, catch them napping. You're going to see the kitchen sink thrown at them.
Well, I guess my point is they could have gone with Mary Beth Feldman, who is a junior. McGinnis at the same time has had a wonderful 2023, and I guess can make the argument that she earned the start today. As the batter here for the Sharks is the catcher Madison Fine.
I think it's more of a pitching matchup as to the hitters and not the opposing pitcher. I think it's a little different pitch selection and speed and arm angle is what she was looking for.
The 2-1 to Fine.
All of those have been really close.
Madison Fine, a big target, 5 feet 9 inches. And Gwen McGinnis with the 3-1. And it's sent foul down the first base line, and that'll be caught by Mariah Galhouse for out number 1. That'll bring up Tia Williams, the shortstop, number 5 hitter for head coach Julie Lemaire. High and outside for ball 1.
Man, that was close. He called it a late call. Should be, what, a 2-1 or 1-1?
Tia Williams hitting .313. And strike 2.
No, it's going to be 1-2. 1-2.
1-2 on the way, and Williams pops that one up. Ballmer ranges back, and Fantone comes in from left field and makes the catch for out number 2.
Tampa would like to get out of this and get back to hitting.
The first base player, Kirsten Shaw, batting now for Nova Southeastern in the bottom of the second. 2 outs.
Right there, first pitch strike.
That one looked close. Ball 1, however. McGinnis, some real speed. Not able to hit the strike zone on that one, though. Yeah. 2-1 to Shaw.
They're really setting her up to pull. They're keeping the pitches inside.
Popped up and out of play. So 2-2 now to Kirsten Shaw.
It's really important to take the first game of a series, but then the second game comes. Now you have some current data. Now they have some, what are we looking at really?
That one goes outside. Count goes full. Yeah, otherwise they would be looking at video from March when they played each other down in Fort Lauderdale.
And you're not going to swing the same way you did last week either.
To third and right past Chevalier for a base hit.
Really hard hit, line drive right there. Really kept her hands inside the body, inside the ball.
Yeah, I think that would have been a highlight reel stop if Chevalier would have been able to get the glove down in time because it was such a hard hit ball. So the third base player, Samantha Burke, to the plate. Gets under that one, and coming in to make the catch from right field is Galhouse for out number 3. So no runs on one hit, no Spartan errors, and one Sharks runner left on base. Through 2 complete, Spartans in the lead 1-0. Back with more NC. Bruce Wozniak along with Skippy Lieberstein, the Spartans in a 1-0 lead through 2 innings. Game 2 of the best-of-3 series in the NCAA Super Regionals. And as I mentioned before, the winner of this best-of-3 series will head to Chattanooga, Tennessee for the NCAA Championship Series next weekend. Actually beginning on Thursday, the 25th. Spartans back to the top of the order, and the left fielder, Lauren Fantone.
This is what I'm interested to see to hear today is Tampa make the adjustment with these left-handed hitters. So important to get your lineup moving.
So this top of the third inning is the same as the top of the first, since we're back to Fantone. She will be followed by Lily Keister and Mariah Galhouse. Fantone led off the game, popping out to second base, and drives that one foul down the left field line.
So this is something we did not see yesterday, is at least at this at-bat, the pitcher is pitching her inside. She's trying to beat her.
And you have to wonder, Skippy, if there's a bouncer to second and nicely played over to first.
Well done.
For out number 1. You have to wonder if the Sharks head coach, Julia Mayer, anticipated that the Spartans were going to do their homework and say, okay, they're pitching the left-handed hitters outside. Let's make an adjustment. So she says, let's react to that.
Make the adjustment before you see it.
Yep.
And I don't know if I'm a fan of that because you saw how well it worked yesterday.
Agreed.
There's
Agreed.
another pitch inside, that was middle third.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and see if the Spartans do properly adjust or not, rather than saying, well, we're just going to switch it up. Keister bounces that one, and a base hit. Lily aboard there in the top of the third with only 1 out.
And right there, another pitch thrown middle inside third of the plate. I don't know if that's by design or mislocation.
And last night I talked about how dangerous Mariah Galhouse is at the plate, and she made me look bad. And you have to kind of feel like she's going to break through eventually, and gets her bat on the ball there, and it will be caught out in left field by Langwell for out number 2. A lot of these Spartan hitters, for that matter, that have been so efficient all year long, so successful with the bat, you just got to feel that they're going to break out. And Cameron Weininger, well qualified to do such, hitting in the number 4 spot. She flew out to center field in the second inning.
And with the Spartans taking an early lead, it almost feels like a ton of bricks have just been lifted off of you. All right, now we're going to get out of our head. Now we're going to go play some softball.
Swing with a little more comfort, a little more confidence.
Oh, absolutely.
And Weininger, big swing and a miss there, 0-2. Keep in mind Lily Keister over at first base. And the 0-2 way outside, and Keister goes. And now she's going to advance all the way to third.
That should be a stolen base error. We'll see how they score it. They scored it out there.
So Cameron Weininger, the complexion of her at-bat changes a little bit here. And now Julie Lemaire is going to come out and talk to her pitcher again.
Right there, I said Tampa's going to be really aggressive. And a stolen base with 2 outs and you have the lead, that is, I mean, aggressive as it gets. And then she got up and took third off that throwing error. You got to wonder, are they starting to feel the pressure? Hey, Tampa didn't really show up yesterday. They were kind of on the field. I think they see a whole lot of different attitude. They got a pep talk yesterday.
And even though there's 2 strikes and 2 outs, to your point, you got to feel like Cameron Weininger's confidence level just went up even more. Oh, okay, we are going to play Tampa Spartan softball today.
Oh, absolutely.
And the Sharks fans who are watching are saying, I hope he just jinxed the Spartans, but let's see how this goes. And Weininger follows that one down the right field line. The commentator's curse, as it's been called. So 1-2, and up high. Count goes even.
It looks like Tampa today is doing a better job of working the at-bat, looking at the pitches, really getting some info on it.
Outside for ball 3. Yeah, and you have to admire Cameron Weininger for doing exactly what you just said, Skippy, and not getting caught up in the emotion, the excitement, dare I say the pressure. And the 3-2 on the way, outside for ball 4.
Really, really good job of an at-bat right there. Really worked it. Not with the bat, but, working the count. And that allows your teammates to look at a lot of different things, too.
And when you keep in mind that she had fallen behind in the count 0-2, and to work it all the way that she did, fouling off a pitch or two and ending up with the base on balls. Nicely done. Avery Perkins, the batter, and gets her bat on that one. Williams over to first, and they do get the out. But the Spartans, some confidence. No runs, 1 hit, 1 Sharks error, and 2 Spartans runners left on base. We'll be back with more NCAA softball right here on TampaSpartans.tv. Back live at the Namoli Family Stadium, ready for the bottom of the 3rd inning as Nova Southeastern will send up their 8, 9, and 1 hitters, starting off with Emily Thomas, the second base player. And strike 1.
Even though Tampa didn't score last inning, it was a really good inning. And what I mean by that is they were able to apply pressure, capitalize on an error, get to a full count and take your base. Really make the defense work, the pitcher work.
Yeah, they may not have put anything in the run column, but they did put more in the confidence column.
Oh, yes.
1-2 the count to Emily Thomas. Sends that one to left field, and Fantone is there for out number 1. The number 9 hitter, Haley Lynch, the Sharks' right fielder. First pitch to Lynch is ball 1. Gwen McGinnis, you see, doesn't waste her time between pitches.
Oh, she really has a rhythm about her. She likes to work fast.
So the count 1-1 now. McGinnis winds, delivers, and just catches the corner of the strike zone for 1-2. The 1-2, and Watson not able to frame that one in a convincing enough fashion for the home plate umpire.
It looks like she went to do the same pitch and location again after getting that call.
Swing and a miss. And down goes Haley Lynch as the 3rd strikeout of the game for Gwen McGinnis. And that brings us back to the top of the Nova Southeastern order. And center fielder Alexis Smith. Looked like she wanted to flash bunt.
Maybe just trying to draw the corners in. A little chess match right here.
Chevalier looked like she took a couple steps in from third base. 2-0 the count here against Alexis Smith.
A little bit of a chess match going on right here.
Yeah. Teasing with the bunt look very briefly again. And now the 2-1 from McGinnis. And she does bunt, and it goes foul this time. 2-2.
That's pretty much going to take the bunt play off the table. It looks like she was trying to do a push bunt and just, keep the wheels in motion. She saw the corners playing about even or behind the bag, trying to catch them sleeping.
Full count. 2 outs, bottom of the 3rd. McGinnis delivers, and Williams a base hit to left field. And so she survives the chess match with McGinnis and keeps the inning alive for the Sharks. And they will see their pitcher, Alyssa Drogemuller, to the plate now. Strike 1.
Looks like we're going to have a chess match on the base pass right here. Really aggressive lead on that one.
And the 0-1 to Drogemuller. Indeed.
A little bit of a mental game, if you will.
Big jump over there at first by Smith.
You got 2 outs right here. Just focus on the batter. Go get them.
The 1-1. There she goes. And they do get her with the tag. Nicely played by Steph Ballmer, coming over to cover from short. So no runs on 1 hit, no Spartan errors, and no Sharks runners left on base through 3 complete. UT in the lead 1-0. Back with more NCAA softball coming up on TampaSpartans.tv. Back here at the Namoli Family Stadium, the Spartans in the lead 1-0 as we start the top of the fourth inning. Lexi Chevalier starting things off for UT, which means that we have the 6, 7, and 8 hitters scheduled here in the top of the fourth. And Chevalier drives that one foul down the left field line. So close.
You know, Bruce, I think we should send that one to New York and get another look. That was close. That would have been huge, at least a double.
So Chevalier ready for the redo. Drogemuller sends that one up high for ball one. That one low for ball two.
You know, Bruce, as you look in the infield, you know, you see the infielders playing a lot more back, a lot more true. They really respect the bat right here. They're going to give her their respect.
Chevalier gets under that one and ranging over, make the catch is Thomas, the second base player. So that'll bring up Caroline Watson. Watson with the walk in the second inning. Strike one here in the fourth. And now the 0-1 foul down the third base line.
You know, as you see, Tampa, when they're in the circle, it's a very quick rhythm. She wants to get pitching the ball. She doesn't really want to think or sit around. As you see Nova, they go to the dugout, look for the sign, then they look at the wristband. You know, two different styles.
And you see the catcher who looks to the dugout as well. That one's low and outside for ball one. And you know, if this was a non-Florida team, you could talk about the fact that it's 90 degrees and wanting to get out of there faster, but Nova Southeastern, they're used to this sun and this heat. Watson shoots that one over the fence, out of play down the left field line.
You know, it is pretty toasty today, Bruce.
Yeah, I say it's 90, but down in the field, I imagine it feels much more than that.
I would put it right there at triple digits for sure.
1-2 now to Watson. And right between second and short, for all intents and purposes, over the second base bag. And Watson with a single.
That was a beautiful job of hitting. Great foundation of the body just to stay back, not try to really rip on it, just throw the hands at it.
And a perfectly placed ball, too, because there is quite a gap between second and short. Now, you can make an argument for the pitcher closing that gap up, but Watson perfectly placed hit, and with only one out here in the top of the fourth.
I also think that's one of the reasons why you're going to see Tampa really aggressive on the base pass. Look how far the shortstop or the second baseman has to go to the bag with the ball in the air.
Way up high there on DeSimone.
Should have had a good look at that one.
1-1 is the count. DeSimone, you'll recall, with the RBI on the air back in the second. And gets under that one. And coming over from center field to make the catch is Alexis Smith.
You can't be mad at yourself. You hit that one great. I mean, really pured it. You're going to want to do that every single time.
And as we've been saying, Skippy, a lot different looking game because even though they're being caught, some really well hit balls by the Spartans. They do have 3 hits. We're only in the top of the fourth. We've got a run to show for it. Balmer. And she'll be out at first to end the inning. No runs on one hit. There were no Sharks errors. And through 3.5, UT continues to lead 1-0. And we'll be back with more NCAA Super Regional play here on TampaSpartans.tv.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
You know?
Yeah. Back here at the Namoli Family Stadium, and you could make an argument for halfway through the game, but then I get all kinds of dirty looks when I start saying or not, and people don't want the jinx of going beyond 7, but you get the point.
Completely different attitude from Tampa today, as expected.
Gwen McGinnis, the young Spartans pitcher, 45 pitches thrown, so she's averaging 15 per inning.
She's being really aggressive with the right-handed batters, really attacking the inside. She says, I got a good fastball, and you can hit it if you can.
Starting things off for the Sharks in the bottom of the 4th, pitcher Alyssa Drogemuller, the number 2 hitter, and strike 1 to her. Sends that to, it's fair, to left field, and Fantone not able to get to it in time, and Drogemuller ends up at second base.
Took the little sandwich out there and plopped it right over the infield.
Yeah, as much as I was talking about the Spartans finding that gap and putting it right over the second base bag, that was a very well-placed ball that Drogemuller hit.
You know, it's unfortunate the way it bounced and she kicked it. It would have been a single.
That brings up the left fielder, Riley Langwell.
Unbelievable.
And DeSimone, a tremendous play there defensively. Wow. Put that one on the defensive highlight reel.
You know, the pitcher's really going to thank you right there.
So right away we go to the number 4 hitter, Madison Fine, the Sharks catcher.
You know, going back to the previous play, the first baseman really went, she sold everything out and immediately charging.
And Fine gets underneath that one, and Chevalier easily with the catch for out number 2. And just like that, the Sharks in jeopardy of wasting a good start to this bottom of the 4th.
You know,
although
they really had the inning in control right there. Could have played a little small ball, advanced runner. Now you could do a sacrifice fly or a bunt. And now all of a sudden you're looking at 2 outs.
hoping to have something to say about it, however, is Tia Williams, the shortstop. You see her behind 0-1 in the count.
You know, that kicked ball doesn't hurt as bad now. It almost feels like it didn't happen.
Well, and you could argue that the DeSimone diving catch from first base, dare I say the turning point of the inning, I think that really sparked UT, and then the quick out, Chevalier makes the catch, and all of a sudden, here's Williams finding herself behind in the count 1-2. Just curves outside for ball
She
two.
really sold out on that play, and she went to the pay window and cashed in. If that one would have gone over her head, I mean, that was definitely going to be a bunt single. It was an unbelievable play.
Fouled back into the screen. Two balls, two strikes, two outs. And the batter is number 2, Tia Williams. She flew out to left field in the second inning, and this time is going to pop out to first base. So no runs on one hit, no Spartan errors, and no Sharks runners left on base. The Spartans continue to lead 1-0 through 4, and we'll be back with more NCAA Super Regional Softball right here on TampaSpartans.tv.
In the late 1920s, the prospect of a Hillsborough High student enrolling in college was bleak. The nation was in the throes of the Great Depression. Businesses were failing, and many of Tampa's beautiful waterfront homes were left abandoned. The principal at Hillsborough High, Frederick Spalding, didn't see these barriers. He only saw bright young students who were in need of a place to continue their learning. In 1931, collegiate-level courses were offered at Hillsborough High. This would later become the University of Tampa. On August 2, 1933, Spalding arrived at the doors of Plant Hall with a 100-year lease from the city and a firm resolve, and with the turn of a key, opened the door to the University of Tampa. In its fledgling years, UT was fortunate if it could collect half of the tuition due from its students. It was only through the dedication of its professors, who worked without pay, that the university survived the Great Depression.
Back at the Nemoli Family Stadium, Bruce Wozniak, along with Skippy Lieberstein, and the Spartans continue to hold a 1-0 lead. And we'll see the 1-2-3 hitters for the Spartans here in the top of the 5th. Lauren Fantone, the left fielder, leading things off. And the first pitch from Drogemuller is swung on and all the way to left field. And the catch made out there by Langwell. So we'll see Lily Keister. And Keister 1 for 2 in this game.
If you're Tampa, you really want to see the left-handed batters get involved at the plate here.
Lily Keister flew out to left field in the first inning and then singled in the third. Behind in the count here, 0-1, Drogemuller, and that one will be chopped foul down the third base line.
So Bruce, this inning, both left-handed hitters, they're going to the outside of the plate again, going back to what worked yesterday. So I wonder if the other inning was by design or by mistake.
So the 0-2 coming now to Lily Keister with one out here in the top of the 5th. And it stays alive as that one's fouled into the tree past the Spartans dugout. Well, what is usually the Spartans dugout, they're the road team, so for this game, that's the Sharks dugout. And the 0-2 again. Up high. Keister ducks out of the way of that one. 1-2. Low for ball 2. It's as you talked about, Skippy, the Spartans working the at-bats.
You're just hoping for that mistake to capitalize, especially on the left-handed hitter.
And a base hit for Keister. And UT continuing to show the success that was lacking last night, as that's now 4 hits in the game. And it brings up Mariah Gelhaus.
You know, that pitch was inside. That was a missed location. That was supposed to be outside off the plate. Able to capitalize.
And a good eye by Keister to recognize that. As you see that one go low for ball 1 here to Mariah Gelhaus. Gelhaus 0-2. 0 for 2 in this game. Lined out to second base and then to left field in the first and third innings respectively. And that one's going to go foul over top of the Sharks dugout. And again, Skippy, as you mentioned before, the second base player and the shortstop way off position if the Spartans are going to try to swipe the bag.
Yeah, it's almost like they're going to give it to you.
Keister having a good laugh over there at first base with Denise Rubio, assistant coach.
I mean, you see how far they're playing off the bag. They got to get to the bag in position while the ball is in the air. That's a lot of moving parts.
Another one low, so Galehouse 3-1 now.
You're in a hitter's count right here. You're going to look for that one location. Try to really open this game up right here.
And Galehouse foul down the left field line.
That was a really healthy swing right there.
Yeah, that would have been very productive if it had stayed in play. Galehouse got a hold of that one. So the count now full.
I would expect the runner's going to be on the move with a full count. Stay out of the double play best you can.
One out in the top of the fifth. And the 3-2. And that'll be ball 4. That is the third walk issued in this game by Sharks pitcher Alyssa Drogemuller.
Almost a complete 180 of what we saw yesterday.
That'll bring up Cameron Weininger, Spartans' number 4 hitter. And up the middle it goes, and a nice toss to second base to get Galehouse. So runners on the corner for UT now with 2 outs in the top of the 5th.
You know, Nova's done a really good job. Even though Tampa's getting on base and applying pressure, they still only have 1 run.
That brings up Avery Perkins. Strike 1 to Perkins, who is 0 for 2 in this game. She flew out to center field in the second inning and then ground out to short in the third. And gets a piece of that one, but that will be caught in left field for out number 3 by Langwell. So the Spartans, no runs on 1 hit, no Sharks errors, and 2 runners left on base. We will be back with the bottom of the 5th coming up on TampaSpartans.tv. Back here at the Namoli Family Stadium, ready for the bottom of the 5th inning, and the Spartans continue to cling to a 1-0 lead. The game's only run came in the top of the 2nd. And for pitcher Gwen McGinnis, her pitch count, Skippy, is at 56, and I noticed in the top half of the inning that Drogemuller was already north of 70.
Well, you got a really aggressive pitcher going first pitch strike almost 70% of the time. And Tampa's done a really good job of working the count, working the at-bat, extending innings, fouling off the pitches.
This is the first base player, Kirsten Shaw. She singled in the 2nd inning. And strike 2 to Shaw. Shaw is the number 6 hitter. And the 0-2 on the way to her. And a base hit. Or is it? She is safe. Nice attempt there by Galehouse, but Shaw runs it out.
Right there, you saw the first baseman look behind her and saw the runner kind of just trotting, going to take that bag. Really heads up, aggressive play.
So the Sharks with a runner aboard. And that brings up Samantha Burke, the third base player. She flew out to foul territory down the right field line in the second inning.
I would say Nova could do some small ball here, but we haven't seen it yet.
And Burke sends that one down the left field line, foul. One ball, one strike to the grad student from Fort Worth, Texas. Her team trailing 1-0. Victorious here last night, 4-0. And now the 1-1 from Gwen McGinnis is fouled off on the first base side.
It's real important to get into 2 strikes quickly because now you open up the playbook. Now you can go an action pitch to the offside and try to get weak contact.
Fouled back. Burke staying alive. Her teammate Kirsten Shaw over on first base. The 1-2. Up high for a ball. And it looks like Caroline Watson eyeing up that runner over on first base. And Burke sends that one to right field. And Galehouse makes the catch. Holding the runner, Shaw at first base.
Nova is really playing real conservative, it feels like. They know this is not a must-win. But at the same time, you can advance to the next round if you win.
The batter is the second base player, Emily Thomas. 0 for 1 in this game, flew out to left field in the third. And ahead in the count here in the bottom of the fifth, 2-0.
It almost looks like the strike zone is a little wider, but not very low. He's keeping it pretty at the knees right now.
Strike one there to Thomas. Yeah, and you see McGinnis, as we've talked about, how quickly she's ready with the next pitch. As that one's sent to left field, Fantone ranges back, makes the catch. And 2 outs for the Sharks here in the bottom of the fifth. And Shaw holding firmly on first base. That'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Haley Lynch, the Sharks right fielder. She struck out in her only plate appearance in this game, that being in the third inning. Gwen McGinnis has 3 strikeouts. And that was pitch number 70 of the game for her. Outside for a ball.
Almost feels like a completely different inning. You're able to get the runner on, I believe, with no outs, and now still sitting there at first with 2 outs.
Fouled back.
That's why I'm such a big fan of the small ball. You manufacture the runs.
Well, it's not unlike the last inning when DeSimone made the diving play at first. Chevalier made the catch at third, and all of a sudden they're down to 2 outs, and there you go. Another strikeout by Haley Lynch. So number 4 in the game for McGinnis. The Sharks, no runs on 1 hit. There were no Spartan errors, and 1 Nova Southeastern runner left on base. We are through 5 complete. The Spartans continue to lead 1-0, and we'll be back with more NCAA softball super regional play right here on TampaSpartans.tv. Lexi Chevalier to lead things off for UT here in the top of the 6th. Her Spartans holding that 1-0 lead. Both teams with 4 hits apiece. And Chevalier has one of the Spartans' 4 hits in this game. She's singled back in the second. She popped out to second base in the 4th. And a nice base hit by Chevalier there to left field. Well struck ball. And on the very first pitch, the Spartans get their leadoff hitter aboard to start inning number 6. And that'll bring up the catcher, Caroline Watson.
Bruce, you can almost feel like Tampa is starting to heat up. There's a mojo about them right now. They're playing loose. They're having fun.
Watson showing bunt. She walked back in the second inning and singled in the 4th. And a nice opportunity for her here as Lexi Chevalier starts with a single.
I think you're going to see the bunt play on.
There it is. And they go to first to get Watson out, and Chevalier advances to second. Kate DeSimone, the first base player, number 8 hitter.
Looks like we're going to have a pinch runner at second. Definitely want to add to the lead here, get a little insurance for your pitcher that's just been dominating, really aggressive. Try to manufacture another run right here.
Devin Hammonds is the pinch runner at second for Chevalier. And now the first pitch to Kate DeSimone. And that one is missed by the catcher, Madison Fine, and so Hammonds advances to third.
That's a huge pass ball right there. Now you got the runner to third with 1 out. Now you can sacrifice fly, a single. I mean, the playbook is really open right here.
Drogemuller, extra time looking into the dugout and at a wristband and then back to the dugout again, and now ready with the 1-0. DeSimone, golden opportunity here, ahead in the count 2-0. And Devin Hammonds over at third.
As a hitter right now, your mindset is, I got to make contact, get the ball in play at least to the grass.
And bobbled by the third base player. And so Devin Hammonds scores as DeSimone reaches base for the second time in this game. And UT opens a 2-0 lead.
That is what happens when you play small ball. You really manufacture the runs. Unfortunately, that ball ate up the third baseman. Took a lot of weird hops.
Interestingly, DeSimone has brought in both runs in this game, both by way of an error. She's over at first base now with only 1 out. And Steph Ballmer at the plate. And another conference in the pitching circle here as you see the Sharks head coach Julie Lemaire coming out to talk to the battery and the infielders.
And it does have a pitcher in the bullpen.
Spartans, I'm sure, licking their lips over here, putting on the bib as they listen to their head coach Leslie Cantor and assistant coach Denise Rubio. You see Ballmer, the batter over there, and Fantone, who's in the on-deck circle. And, of course, Kate DeSimone, who is currently on first base, part of that conference as well. And the Sharks ready to resume. So the 1-0 now to Steph Ballmer, showing bunt, and nicely done.
I think that's going to be a foul ball.
Surprised to see the bunt, Skippy?
Well, you see the first baseman playing way back. It's going to force the wheel play. I think it's a good move.
The 1-1 on the way, and that one's going to be ball 2. It looked like Ballmer was thinking bunt again that time. So 2-1 the count now. The Spartans have scored here in the top of the 6th to increase their lead to 2-0.
I think that's a smart move. I think it's designed bunt because the left-handed hitters have been pretty much taken out mostly of the game. So use it as a productive out, a way to help your team.
Over to first, and Ballmer
really good bunt right there, making sure it doesn't go to the left side or up the middle. That way you move your runner over.
DeSimone at second, and you see Lauren Fantone going over to talk with head coach Leslie Cantor. As Lauren comes to the plate now with 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. Fantone 0 for 3 in this game. Drogemuller delivers, and Fantone fouls that one off.
I think that's going to be your mistake pitch, and she was ready for it, just barely missed it. I think that's going to be the one at this at bat.
So now the 0-1, and Fantone watches that one go up high for a ball. And now the 1-1. Fantone gets under that one, and ranging in from left field to make the catch is Riley Langwell. So the Spartans, 1 run on 1 hit. There was 1 Sharks error and 1 runner left on base. So we are through 5.5, and the Spartans now lead at 2-0. And we'll be back with more NCAA Super Regional Softball right here on TampaSpartans.tv.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play.
Back here at the Namoli Family Stadium, bottom of the 6th. And the Sharks will start it off with their leadoff hitter, Alexis Smith, the center fielder. She is 1 for 2 in this game, struck out in the first and singled in the third. And flashing bunt there against McGinnis here in the bottom of the 6th.
Doing the chess match again. She's going to make the corners pull up in, and that's going to give her a little more room to drop a ball in the outfield.
And gets a piece of that one, and that goes all the way to the outfield fence. And the relay, they'll try it at third.
That is unbelievable. If you're Nova, I mean, that is a great hit. You never want to take the first or third out at third. But in this situation, you got to get in a scoring position, and you're going to test the outfielder's arms right there. Unbelievable strike thrown to the third baseman. That ball is off course. That is safe.
Tremendous play by the Spartans defensively, and that'll go on the game's highlight reel along with the diving catch that DeSimone had made from first base. So another shot in the arm, Skippy, for the Spartans and their confidence in this game, as there's now one out in the bottom of the sixth. And the pitcher, Drogemuller, and Fantone there to handle that one for out number 2.
Tampa really loved getting that out because the runner stops at second. Now you can manufacture that run and make it a one-run game. So it's kind of like a left hook you just got hit with. Now you got to get back up and try to regain the composure. You know, it definitely feels like it takes the air out of your tires.
Strike one to the number 3 hitter, Riley Langwell, Sharks left fielder, and gets her bat on that one in a diving attempt by Balmer. However, Langwell will get aboard with what should be scored a hit. It's a well-hit ball.
I think it should be a hit as well. It should be. Player shortstop was ranging pretty far left and dove and knocked it with the tip of her glove or the laces.
And even with the great attempt that Balmer had made there, even if she had gotten to it, I don't know that she would have been in a position to get up in time to make the throw over to first.
It would be really difficult to do. You're deep in the hole with a really fast batter going down the line.
So the catcher, Madison Fine, 1-0 to her. And make that 2-0 now.
Real long look to first baseman, or to first base by the catcher as the runner was kind of just standing out there. Maybe a snap throw coming. Keep her honest.
Just catches the corner for a 2-1 count here to Madison Fine in the bottom of the sixth. The Sharks are the home team here in this game. As you see the check down with the first base umpire who says no, she did not go around. 3-1 is the count. McGinnis ready. Wines delivers and gets strike 2.
You battled back into a full count. It's time to get time to cash it in and get out of this inning.
Here comes the 3-2, and Fine gets underneath that one, and there's not going to be a play made at first, as going all the way to third will be Langwell. So a little bit of hope here for Nova Southeastern with 2 outs in the bottom of the sixth and 2 on.
Looks like we're going to have a meeting in the circle. You know, I would expect the leash is starting to get a little short as she has already been taken out. You know, a great game pitch by her.
Well, they're actually going to bring in DeSimone from first base, and she will take over in the pitching circle.
She came in to pitch against Alabama Huntsville, and everybody thought we were going to have Gale House out there, but she stuck with her and let her finish the game and pitched really well.
So McGinnis exits, having pitched 5 2/3 innings, allowed 7 hits, struck out 4, pitch count of 85. Kate DeSimone, 10 appearances this season, a 5-0 one-loss record, 32 innings pitched, 32 strikeouts, And a 0.00 earned run average for DeSimone.
000. Is that correct, Bruce?
And so with DeSimone coming into the pitching circle, the defensive change is that Kylie Seawick takes over at first base. And now it's Tia Williams, the shortstop. Strike one. And now the 0-1 from DeSimone. And right back to her. And over to Seawick for out number 3. So for Nova Southeastern, no runs, 3 hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on base through 6 complete. The Spartans lead it 2-0. We'll be back with more NCAA Super Regional Softball right here on TampaSpartans.tv. Back live here at the Namoli Family Stadium. The Spartans in a 2-0 lead, despite the fact that they're being out hit 6-5. But Skippy, the real number that's got to jump out at you is Nova Southeastern having committed 3 errors. You're not going to win too many games when you commit 3 and your opponent commits 0.
Yeah, I feel like one of those, possibly 2, could go either way. It is what it is, but you're here in the Super Regional. You got the first game. You're in loom to go to the 3rd game now. So you want to finish strong. You want to try to win this game, but you want to build some momentum going into that 3rd game if we do go to a 3rd game.
Yeah, you can make the argument that the immediacy, having just come off of this game, all of a sudden you kind of say that, well, Nova Southeastern did beat them, but that was last night. As you see the ball short over to first for out number 1.
The shortstop did a really good job of playing that ball. Took a step or 2 back. That way it didn't short hop on her. Really heads up play right there because it's really easy to get aggressive and try to get that short hop.
So Keister is out number 1 here in the top of the 7th, and that brings up Mariah Galehouse. And Mariah 0 for 2 plus a walk in the 5th inning. Playing right field in this game, but Skippy, you got to believe that if the Spartans are able to hold on to pull this one out, that we will see her in the circle for the next game, as that one's dribbled to short and bobbled and not in time.
You know, Galehouse is not happy with the outcome of the hit, but, you know, nonetheless, you're on base extending the inning.
And that one is scored a hit for Galehouse. So she is aboard with 1 out here in the top of the 7th, and that brings up the number 4 hitter, Cameron Weininger. She flew out to center in the 2nd inning and then walked in the 3rd and hit into a fielder's choice in the 5th.
You know, we're talking about Game 3 here, Bruce, but we got to still finish this one out to get to Game 3.
And a throw down to second, and Galehouse is in there safely with the stolen base. So Leslie Cantor, the Spartans coach, recognizing exactly that and saying we're not going to get comfortable with quote-unquote just a 2-run lead. Let's get aggressive and see if we can convert Galehouse and at least make it 3. And now the 1-1 coming to Cameron Weininger. It's up high for ball 2. And that one's low for ball 3. Droga Mueller, by the way, is at 95 pitches in this game.
She doesn't look like she did last night, which was extremely impressive. I mean, unbelievable outing. Definitely one for the stat column for sure.
Yeah, she set the bar pretty high. It was a tough act to follow.
And she hasn't pitched bad either. She's only gave up 2 runs. The defense has let her down a time or two. But honestly, she has pitched really well.
Weininger, and that one will be caught for out number 2 by Tia Williams. That'll bring up the designated player, Avery Perkins, the Spartans' number 5 hitter. Avery is 0 for 3 in this game. Flew out to center, ground out to short, flew out to left field, and is going to get a base hit here. And coming all the way around to score is Galehouse to make it 3-0. And stand-up RBI double for Avery Perkins in the top of the 7th.
Right there, Bruce. The infield on the left, the outfield on the left-handed hitters have really been cheating up, as a slap hitter doesn't really have as much power. They're a contact hitter. Get on the OPS is what they're looking for. They didn't play her true. They didn't give her the respect, and she saw that, and she really went out there and made a statement right there.
So Alexi Chevalier, who is 2 for 3 in this game, in a position here with Perkins on second to add to the UT lead, as they have increased it to 3-0 here in the top of the 7th. That one way up high, and the count goes even.
She really has swung the bat well and seen the ball really well today.
The 1-1 now, and Chevalier gets underneath that one, and Williams calls for it and makes the catch for out number 3, but not before the Spartans get another run up on the board. 1 run on 2 hits. There were no Sharks errors and 1 Spartans runner left on base. So we will go to the bottom of the 7th with the Spartans leading 3-0, and that'll be coming up here on TampaSpartans.tv.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Back live here at the Namoli Family Stadium, and the Spartans trying to finish this one off, leading 3-0 and forcing the later game. Sharks won 4-0 last night. Spartans are winning this one 3-0, and the best of 3 series, and it's all on the line as the winner will advance to the NCAA Championship Series next weekend up in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Bruce, the pay window's open. You want to get to that, I believe the game's scheduled for 6 o'clock. You got to get to the pay window. Cash your chips in right here.
Leading things off for the Sharks in the bottom of the 7th is the first base player, Kirsten Shaw. And the first pitch from DeSimone. Ball 1. Kate DeSimone taking over after a great outing by Gwen McGinnis. There were 2 outs in the previous inning when DeSimone came in and took over. She is behind in the count here, 2-0 against Shaw. Outside for ball 3. Kirsten Shaw has a pair of singles in this game. And now the 3-0 and draws the walk on 4 straight pitches, although DeSimone not too sure about that last one.
There was definitely a few close ones.
And Sharks head coach Julie Lemaire coming over to talk to the home plate umpire. I believe we're going to get a pinch runner here.
Well, the Sharks are not going to go down without a fight.
So Whitney Kelly coming in to run for Kirsten Shaw. And the hitter is Samantha Burke, the third base player for Nova Southeastern. She is 0 for 2 in this game. And you see the jump over there at first base by the pinch runner, Whitney Kelly.
Yeah, with the middle infielders playing very true, you know, it's almost like you're going to give it to them.
The 0-1 swung on foul tip.
And with a 3-run lead, you can pretty much concede the base. That way you don't throw it away and advance them to third. That would be a very smart play. All you need is 3 outs. They have to score 3. They got to score 4 to win.
Swung on and missed for the strikeout, and they try down at first, but Kelly is back in time. But Burke goes down as the strikeout victim, and out number 1 here in this bottom of the 7th. That'll bring up Emily Thomas, the Sharks' second base player.
You know, if I'm Tampa, I'm not even worried about the runner. Let's just face the batter.
And we saw one just like that last night.
Yeah, try to check swing and you end up fouling it right off the knob of the bat. It's unfortunate.
So 0-2 here against Emily Thomas. DeSimone delivers and outside for a ball.
That almost looked like a design pitch out right there.
So the 1-2 now coming to Emily Thomas with 1 out, and swings and misses, and that'll be 2 outs now for Nova Southeastern, and down to potentially their last batter of the game. As coming to the plate is Haley Lynch, the number 9 hitter. Lynch 0 for 2 in this game. 1-0 to the right fielder Lynch. She struck out in the 3rd and 5th innings. 1-1. Now the 1-1 swung on and gets through the gap as Chevalier not able to put the glove on it.
Really hard hit ground ball right there.
So the Sharks stay alive here in the bottom of the 7th. And that'll bring us back to the top of the Sharks order. And Alexis Smith, center fielder, who is 2 for 3 in this game. She struck out in the 1st and then singled in the 3rd and doubled in the 6th. And ball 1 there to Alexis Smith.
You really want to see the pitcher get dialed in right here, get aggressive with the batter.
DeSimone's 1-0. Strike 1.
So you have the tying run here at the plate.
1-1 swung on and missed.
With a count 1-2, I would expect some action pitch off the plate, try to get him to chase here.
The 1-2 from DeSimone, swung on and missed for the strikeout, and the Spartans win it 3-0. No runs on one hit, no Spartan errors, and 2 runners left on base for the Sharks. UT forces a third and final game of this best-of-3 series. They win it 3-0, and got to acknowledge the closeout pitching by Kate DeSimone.
Yeah, she really got aggressive right there with the last batter. That's what you wanted to see. Really got aggressive with them, challenged them at the plate. She said, I'm not worried about the runners. You're either going to beat me or you're not.
Spartans finish a 3-0 win that ends a winning streak for Nova Southeastern. That was, wow, an impressive 14 games. And all those streaks, won-loss records, everything goes out the window as it's down to the final game, and the one that will determine which of these 2 teams will advance to the NCAA Championship Series in Chattanooga next weekend.
Bruce, everything you thought about during the season and the series, it doesn't matter now. Now you got to go play one game. It's going to be impressive. It's going to be fun to watch, I believe. A lot of fireworks to come.
The third game was scheduled for 6 p.m. There's word that they may start it early, so keep an eye here on TampaSpartans.tv, and we will look forward to bringing you that third and final game. The Spartans win this one 3-0 for.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?